So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to actually kind of start this thing and then how to actually use your eraser to actually create the white lines. Because when you're looking at this fabric and you're looking at this texture, you'll notice that the lines are actually light and then there's little values of square, you know, the squares are different values. So the way we're going to start this is just like I've explained before, is I'm going to start with a base of rendering and modeling. So what I'm doing here is I'm using my 2H pencil. Okay, using my 2H pencil. I am using a bit of a crosshatch as I'm coming in here just to kind of create a base value. I'm then going to grab my blending stump. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to blend it in a little bit. Just, again, I'm just creating a base value. I'm okay with the texture of the pencil that's in there, okay? Because eventually I'm going to go back over it. So you'll notice it just kind of got a little bit darker. Now I'm going to jump over to my HB pencil, and I'm going to actually add in some of these other values that I see in here. So when I squint at this picture, I really get rid of a lot of the details, and I just notice where my darker values are and where my lighter values are. Again, I'm just adding these in as a foundation. I'm going to smoothen them out in a little bit, and I'm going to erase back in to create the texture using the crosshatch. So all I'm doing is just establishing a base value using rendering and modeling.
Is that still a 2H or is that?
This is my HB pencil. So I started off really light because it's easier for me to get darker, and then I go in with my darker pencil. Again, since I'm going to be using crosshatch on top of this, notice that when I put in my base values, I am using that crosshatch as well. And you can see where I'm going darker, you can see where I'm going a little bit lighter. Now, one of the nice things I like about the blending stuff, like I said, is I could actually keep an end dirty, and that dirty end will actually help me create some value in there. So I'm not relying solely on my pencils. Okay. Right? So you can start to see I'm getting those values in there. I'm not dark enough yet, so maybe I need to jump into a darker pencil, such as my 4B or 6B. Okay, 2B would work as well. And I'm slowly building this up. The key thing with shading is layers. All right, you want to build up slowly. You're not coloring in. All right, you'll notice that I'm holding the pencil towards the back. That helps me establish some light values without going too hard. Okay, it allows me to move a lot quicker throughout. So I get a little bit darker in here, right? Okay. I've almost got a decent base layer in here so I could show you the next part. Beautiful. Gonna blend it in again. When I'm blending, by the way, I'm not trying to get rid of the texture. Right? What I'm trying to do is just kind of, again, create that base value, base texture, so when I go on top of it with my eraser, you could see the white lines of the canvas. All right, that's a decent enough one. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my click eraser, right? And I'm going to make sure that I've got a pretty sharp end on here. If eventually you get this nub to kind of go away, so the sharp end isn't there anymore, you could actually use a blade to cut it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come in here and I'm going to draw these white lines. So I'm cross-hatching with my eraser. You see that? And it starts to create the white lines of the canvas. You see it? Okay. And that's where you can start using your eraser as a drawing tool. A lot of times we use the eraser as a tool to get rid of mistakes, which it can, but it is also a tool to create lines. You can see my lines down in here. Does that make sense? And it starts to create the texture of the canvas. All right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see where that texture starts to come through, right? And that's me kind of going through it really quickly. But that's how you create it.